Good evening. It is time for the Fumblerooski Podcast by Power 88, Dean Radio. So buckle up. We are in for a wild ride. I am here with Justin Tucker. I am Adam Wright. Brian is out tonight. Now, going into this episode, this entire week, we were both worried about not having enough coverage to put together a full episode because nothing really was going on.
But these last few hours.
Sooner or later, wouldn't you know, it's Monday night. We're sitting there in the campus center on campus.
Yes, we were.
It's like a dining hall, and we get an alert from our phone. Dak Prescott, 4 years, $160 million. Then on Tuesday there was the whole drama going on with the franchise tags. Tons of players were signed to the franchise tag. A couple of trades were made. So in the last just few hours, we've just been hammered with information. It's great for us because we get to cover all this stuff. But first things first, we're going to get to the breaking news, the biggest news from the past 24 hours. Dak Prescott signs a 4-year deal for $160 million. Now, I'm going to go through the highest paid quarterbacks in the history of the game on a per year basis, all right? Now, we're going to play a little game here. One of these things is not like the other. Now, take a wild guess on which player out of these top 4 all time on a per year basis is not like the other 3, all right? So, number 1, Patrick Mahomes. I think we can all agree with that. Number 2, Dak Prescott. Number 3, Deshaun Watson. Wow. Number 4, Russell Wilson. Now, let's take a wild guess. I mean, this is a pretty tough one.
Yeah.
Which of these guys? We got Patrick Mahomes, possibly one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever walk the earth at this point. He'll get there eventually.
But he's the best in the game.
Best in the game right now. We have Dak Prescott, amazing player, just great talent. I think of greatness. I think of Dak Prescott.
I see Brady and Prescott.
We won't go that far. We got Deshaun Watson. Ooh, that guy. I mean, he's actually like legitimately like top 4 talent. He has the 3rd highest passer rating in the history of the game according to Pro Football Reference. We got Russell Wilson,
Super Bowl champion,
not Super Bowl MVP. Malcolm Smith, buddy. But take a wild guess. Dak Prescott, ladies and gentlemen. Dak Prescott, 2nd highest paid quarterback in the history of the game on a per year basis. What is it, about $40 million a year? It's insane. It's just $5 million behind Patrick Mahomes, who's at about $45 million. It's ridiculous. This guy, it's not a question as to whether or not he's overpaid. He is overpaid.
Yeah. Like
legitimately. Now, the question we can ask here, did the Cowboys make the right choice re-signing Prescott for this much?
Drum roll, please. Yeah, they did make a mistake overpaying him by that much. I mean, when you see those other names, Prescott 2nd over Watson and Wilson, that's a pretty big margin. So yeah, I do think he was overpaid. I understand why they did it, because they believe they found themselves a franchise quarterback that'll last them for years to come. And if you find yourself a franchise quarterback, you hold on to dear life and you pay them handsomely. The problem is, will they be able to pay for everybody else? DeMarcus Lawrence, Ezekiel Elliott, Tyron Smith, those guys make up most of the cap. So sooner or later, trickle down the line, we're going to be losing some players like a Michael Gallup, like a CeeDee Lamb, when his contract comes up inevitably. Will he stay around is the question. Amari Cooper, another one, 5 years, $100 million, which they need to question that as well. I like him, but nah, not 5 years, $100 million. On defense, Jalen Smith.
Thank you.
He started off in 2018. He was looking good, not too good now. Leighton Vander Esch is coming up sooner or later.
Jerry Jones, the great GM, loves to overpay players, and next thing you know, he's in cap jail. It's like, Jesus Christ, dude.
But overall, I'm going to say this about Dak. if they win a Super Bowl, it's worth it because he did give you a Super Bowl. So if he does do that, then Jerry did make a good decision on this. If you don't win a Super Bowl, it might be one of the biggest mistakes in Cowboys history for this contract. It's either hit or miss. It's like Super Bowl or bust now.
So what you're trying to say is time will tell whether or not whether or not this contract will pan out.
Yeah.
You're kind of trying to say like, well, we don't know yet. If he wins a Super Bowl, then it's worth every penny.
Yeah.
But if they don't, then well, you're stuck in mediocrity for years to come.
But they've always been stuck like that, so you might as well take the risk. It's the Cowboys.
Here's where I'll tell you are wrong.
Mm-hmm.
All right? They absolutely made the right choice by doing this, and here's why.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they had no choice but to pay him. I understand he's overpaid completely. Absolutely. We can all that's not a disputable statement. He's not top 7 right now, let alone top 7 all time.
Mm-hmm.
And he's the second highest paid player in the history of the game.
Mm-hmm.
All right. But, however, that being said, the quarterback market is rising. It's very hard to find quarterbacks in the game right now. And Dak Prescott is their franchise player, whether you like it or not. And whether you like it or not, they have to keep him in order to remain in contention. Now, I understand they've had some issues with mediocrity in the past couple of years, ever since he's come into the league. You know, they started 13-3. Right out of the gates, he was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And then the year after that, not so hot. They had trouble after Ezekiel Elliott got suspended
for
right
6 games.
For 6 games.
Mm-hmm.
Then after that,
made the playoffs.
And they've had some years where they've struggled with their passing offense. They didn't have that many weapons.
Mm-hmm.
And they also have good defenses. They haven't been able to put it all together. I think it's been mainly the rosters that has been the reason for their mediocrity rather than the quarterback. Now, if he's like a Tom Brady or an Aaron Rodgers, you absolutely expect him to elevate that roster to be able to just make everybody better and just win.
Mm-hmm.
But he's just not that quarterback. He's not that guy. Now, we've seen that he's been able to, when he has the roster around him, when like 13-3 in 2016, we saw that that team was actually able to be in contention, and that was an imperfect roster right there.
Mm-hmm.
So say their offense is set. All right, Dak Prescott was on pace to put up historic numbers. Whether it remains to be seen whether or not he actually would have,
mm-hmm.
but he was putting up great numbers. Now their defense sucked. So now what they need to do, they got Dak Prescott. They have the offensive line might need some work. They have the pass catchers. So they damn well have those pass catchers. CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup. You're set.
Mm-hmm.
You have Ezekiel Elliott, one of the better running backs in the game when his head's screwed on straight.
They have Tony Pollard, a good number 2.
Exactly. They have everything on offense that they need, besides a little bit of work on the offensive line. Yeah. They need to rebuild that defense. Rebuild the defense. Get some work on the offensive line. Maybe get healthy there as well. Mm-hmm. And you could do this. You might win a Super Bowl in the next 2 to 3 years, probably 3, mm-hmm. because it's going to take some time to rebuild that defense. But if they would have let Dak Prescott go, forget it. It's over. You need to find the next guy after that. Mm-hmm. And in the years it takes to get that guy, develop him, all of these players on offense, they're gone. They leave in free agency or they overspend for them and they wind up in cap jail. They can't work on that defense because they're so focused on finding the next guy. So it just turns into a big mess. It all starts with a franchise quarterback, and I think it's absolutely the right decision for them to commit to their franchise guy, Dak Prescott.
I mean, what else do you need to see from Dak in order to prove it? I mean, he's already had, 4 or 5 years under the belt? I'm going to scratch away 2020 because he basically didn't play for most of it because of the injury. Hope he heals up well. Hope he's back to 100% next year and, plays well for that franchise.
You're happy with his progress?
Yeah, I'd be happy with it too if I'm going to pay him that much money, $126 million guaranteed. That's going straight to the bank. He's making
Lucky guy.
75. He's making $75 million in the first year.
I still can't believe
because
that.
the franchise tag and the year one and the 40 plus. That's amazing. Whoever his agent is, that's amazing.
I think isn't he Jalen Ramsey's agent? No. That's I'm thinking of Deshaun Watson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
I get what you're saying. But I think it's Todd Francis. That's his agent. But the point is, when I'm looking at the quarterbacks, I see their year two progressions. I know it's not for all of them, but I look at Deshaun Watson year two better than year one. Kyler Murray, even though insignificant, not as much, he still made a jump in year two. Lamar Jackson made a jump in year two. Patrick Mahomes made a jump in year two. You could see the differences in these players. Dak Prescott, I often wonder if he's making any progressions as a quarterback or not, and it makes me question whether or not he is elite. I believe he's a top 10 quarterback when he has the pieces and weapons around him. I'm not sure I would feel that way if he didn't have the pass catchers around him or Ezekiel Elliott in the backfield.
I agree.
So it makes me concerned because when Ezekiel Elliott wasn't there, he looked like a shell of himself. So it makes me wonder, is he worth the contract? Now, if he comes out there and slings that rock and they go to the playoffs and make it to the NFC Championship game, I don't think they'll win the Super Bowl. But if they make it to the NFC Championship, I at least see progress enough to say, okay, he's a winner, he's getting there, and he's progressing the team to where it should be. So I don't know. It just depends on Dak and how far the team goes. Because I believe he has the talent around him. There's no question about that between you and me. You think he has the talent around him?
I think he has it on offense, yeah.
I think they need to do a little tweaking on defense because their coordinators were bad on defense to the point where players didn't know what the heck they were doing on defense.
The personnel sucked too.
290. The Ravens put up 296. Oh, that was just Christmas for me. The Ravens put up 296 on them like it was nothing.
How about them Cowboys?
Easy money.
We them boys.
But the point is, I hope that he does well, but I don't think he will do all that well. But time will tell.
Right. See, it's a matter of whether or not he'll have the talent around him. When he's had the talent around him, he plays well. When he doesn't have the talent around him, he struggles. Yeah. So it's the type of player he needs to be in the right environment. He's a little high maintenance, and they'll have to manage their contracts better. Jerry Jones has to do a much better job than what he's doing right now. His money is all fixed on so few players. Yeah. And then they might want to spread that around to make sure and rebuild that offense. Right. Sorry, the defense. That defense has such little personnel. They need to fix that. I don't think they should have let go. Byron Jones? They should not let him go.
But they're not going to pay him that money for a corner. I like him, but I can't pay him that type of money when he's not giving me picks.
I mean, corners are the type of players you really can't cheap out at that position. It's like that and edge rushers. You really can't cheap out there.
I think you could in the draft. You could draft corners in day 2, day 3, and some of them can be undrafted, and they could fill that spot.
Right, you can draft them, but you can't. It's once they are pending free agents, they're going to ask for money.
Yeah, and you let them
walk. You let them walk at that point, or you re-sign them, and you have your franchise corner. You have your top guy to shadow DeAndre Hopkins, the Devontae Adamses of the world, or like any receiver on the Cowboys offense. So more reason to say that this team is a couple of years from contention. They need to rebuild that offense, but Dak Prescott is what makes it all go.
I agree.
He's the final piece.
Do you think Dak Prescott is an elite quarterback, yes or no?
No.
All right.
I think he's a very good quarterback.
But not elite.
But he's not elite.
All right, that's fair.
And when he has what I will say is when he has the weapons around him, he's not just top 10. I think he could be top 5. He puts up those types of numbers.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. He needs all of that. That's why I'm saying he's not elite. But
I don't look at numbers because look at Jameis Winston.
But Jameis Winston threw over 30 picks.
Some of them weren't his fault. I'm not saying I'm not saying
when you throw 30 picks, it's mainly your fault. When you throw
I'm saying
30 picks,
there could have been a lot of tip passes, a lot of misconnections, whatever. What I'm saying is he did throw for 5,100 yards. Still didn't make the playoffs. Dak Prescott had similar numbers minus the interceptions. Still didn't make the playoffs. So I think it's just when and where you get the numbers and how you get the numbers in.
Right.
When can you get it when it matters? Because I remember that Eagles game and he couldn't get it done.
Right, but if you cut if Winston just cuts those interceptions in half, they could be. Then their record flips from 7-9 to 9-7, 10-6,
and playoff team,
and possibly a playoff team. Now, we're not going to debate whether or not how far the Buccaneers would go, because I think there's just this it factor that Brady has that Winston just doesn't.
Yeah,
y'all eating a W tonight. That leadership. Yeah, it's night and day between those guys, even with or without the interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think take away the interception. Well, I'll touch on it real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Take away the interceptions. He's like Jameis Winston is like a Peyton Manning, maybe and less intelligent.
I really feel like Jameis would be Peyton Manning as a rookie if he didn't learn how to not throw interceptions. Because Peyton was throwing a lot of interceptions as a rookie.
Early on in his career. And then he figured it out. Because he's a smart guy. He figured out the league. Jameis Winston stealing crab legs from the supermarket.
I think he's learning in New Orleans. I think he's progressing there just fine.
It's a possibility, but I want to see it first. All right, we're going to move on. So for all you Patriots fans out there, we have some good news. Finally, for the NFL, we have Trent Brown. He comes back to New England. He played for the New England Patriots in 2018. The Raiders, all they had to give up was the 5th-round pick for him. So very good signing there. They restructured the deal so that they only have him through 2021. He's making $11 million towards the 2021 salary cap. So this basically means Isaiah Wynn is most likely going to move to right tackle from left tackle. In a corresponding move, the Patriots will allow guard Joe Thuney to hit free agency. And we also have center David Andrews becoming an unrestricted free agent as well. So there's a lot of movement going around on the offensive line. But they're becoming with Michael Onwenu.
I'm not going to try to pronounce that name.
It's good tackle, and he's very versatile. They have his versatility to add on. They have very good depth all of a sudden at the tackle spot. So where do the Patriots go from here with this offensive line?
I think they have a better offensive line than last year. I think they're starting to build a little something on that offensive line. They might have a better run game this year as an effect of it. I think if they can get Thune back, who's a good guard at his position, if they are able to find a competent center or keep their undrafted free agent center or unrestricted free agent, not undrafted. If they can figure things out and figure out who goes where, if Trent Brown can stay on the left side and Wynn goes on the right, I think they could be a very successful team this year offensively. They just need a competent quarterback for that, and I haven't heard any news on that yet. So I can't make heads or tails of the offense, but a good O-line for right now.
I agree. They're losing. They're most likely going to lose a couple players. I feel like the writing's on the wall with Joe Thuney. I think he's on his way out. He wants to get paid. He was franchised last season, probably just to bring him back for one season, and then they bring. I think there's a possibility with David Andrews that he could come back. They just need to prioritize him. They probably need to break out their wallets for him. But for those of you Patriots fans out there who followed the team in 2018, Brown balled out. All right, they lost Nate Solder that previous season after the 2017 season, and they bring in Trent Brown. They were supposed to have Isaiah Wynn that season. They lost him to a torn Achilles. They trade for Brown from San Francisco in they gave up a 3rd-round pick, and he played amazing. It reminds us of back during the Matt Light days. So with him and Isaiah Wynn, they're stacked at tackle. Michael Onwenu, well, I'm not even going to try pronouncing his name. He has the versatility to move into guard. He could replace Joe Thuney. We have Shaq Mason at the other guard spot. We're going to prioritize David Andrews. We're going to get him at center. Next thing you know, we're all set there. That's our start. That'll probably be our starting five. Might want invest a little bit in some depth there, but I think that's a solid starting area. But where I find this interesting is they're prioritizing the exterior offensive line, the tackle position, over the guard position. They're more worried about that. And when I think tackle, I think pass protection, protecting the passer. Now, there's reports out there that the Patriots are going for Jimmy Garoppolo. They're prioritizing him, looking to he's their number one option. And now this team has lots of cap space. They have the 15th overall pick, so they have resources, meaning they can go out and get some offense. Maybe they could take some pass catchers. I just don't see. Here's the thing. I don't think I can't imagine they'd be investing this much in protecting our passer just to protect Alex Smith or Ryan Fitzpatrick, right? Like this, I feel like they're looking to go for a higher profile passer. And I think the fact that there's reports out there that they're looking to get Jimmy Garoppolo tells me a little bit about what they want to do. And with the cap space they have, they could surround him with some talent. So bottom line is, what the Patriots should do from here: trade for Garoppolo, sign Corey Davis or T.Y. Hilton, draft Kyle Pitts with the 15th overall pick. We have our pass catchers. The defense was fine last year. It's going to be fine this year. The offensive line is improved. We're rocking and rolling. Mm-hmm. We're ready to roll. The Patriots could return to contention maybe next year, and who knows? Could find ourselves in the Super Bowl facing the Bucs.
Okay, let's calm down there. You can dream all you want to.
It could happen. It's Bill Belichick. Let me tell you something about this upcoming schedule.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something.
Tell me.
All right, I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
The Patriots are facing a familiar foe at quarterback this upcoming fall.
Wonder who it is.
A certain team that wears red and white is coming into town. Mm-hmm. Their quarterback with the name of Tom Brady.
That sounds familiar.
Do you think Belichick wants to lose to Tom Brady, who has been sticking it to him ever since he left? Do you think he wants to lose to him? He knows he needs to. He knows that Brady is going to wipe his ass on Belichick's face. Mm-hmm. He's going to smear. He's going to say, "Hey, Bruce Arians, I want you to let me throw 5 to 7 touchdown passes. Mm-hmm. I want you to let me drop a steaming dump in this stadium."
Oh my God!
He wants to drop a 50 burger. He wants to stick it to him. Brady has been on a mission, and Belichick is not going to let that happen. Mm-hmm. They need to gear up. They need to be uncharacteristic. They need to go all in this offseason. Or else Brady will drop a 50 burger on him, and he will throw 5 touchdown passes and like 500 yards. I know Tom Brady. I've watched him all my life. He will do that, and then some.
Okay.
And then you're gonna hear his "Let's go," and it's gonna be bad. They need to stop him from doing that. Mm-hmm. I'm the biggest Brady fan out there. You guys have listened to me through the entirety of this podcast. I love me some Tom Brady, but I'm a Patriots fan till the day I die. I do not want this Patriots team to get embarrassed, even if it's from Brady. They need to hold their own in this game. Belichick is circling the state, and he's getting prepared.
Okay. Do you really think that the Patriots will get Kyle Pitts with the 15th overall pick?
If he drops there.
If. That is a huge if.
Well, who's going to take him?
The Eagles, the Dolphins.
Jamar Chase. The Eagles are taking Jamar Chase.
The Dolphins. Yeah, I really do believe he could fall anywhere between 1 to 10 or 10 to 15.
I think the Falcons could take him.
Yeah, so they'll probably take Justin Fields.
Yeah, see?
They'll probably take him.
And the Dolphins, they're going to take Devontae Smith.
You're hoping for that, but I'm not so sure after what he said about what he said about Tua.
That was really sketchy. I'll give you that much. But if he drops there, they need to. There's no excuse for not taking him. He's their guy. They need a tight end. Another thing, one of my buddies this morning, Brian Costus, host of Down to the Wire for Bryant University in Rhode Island, he was telling me this morning he wouldn't mind seeing Kyle Rudolph come to the team.
He is a red zone threat, but I'm not sure about anything else, though.
He's a solid player. I mean, they only released him because of revenue from this past season. They didn't have much money, so they kind of they had to. Otherwise, they would have kept him. It wasn't because he wasn't good enough. Although obviously he's not what he was last year. But if they don't get Kyle Pitts, I wouldn't mind him. And maybe if they can afford him and Corey Davis or T.Y. Hilton, then I would do that. I'd love me some Corey Davis.
Yeah, I like him too. I hope he comes to the Ravens, but if not, he can stay himself in Tennessee. But anyway, T.Y. Hilton, I guess you're higher on him than I am. I'm just not seeing it right now. Even though I do like T.Y. Hilton, I don't value him as much as I do Corey Davis.
Yeah, it's tough. I think T.Y. Hilton's had some bad luck at quarterback the past few years. Almost all of his career, with the exception of the years where he had Andrew Luck, which is actually it's starting. It was a long time ago when that.
Yeah.
And even when he had him, he was in and out of the starting lineup, getting hurt, and he just wasn't putting up the same statistics.
I will say this though: every time he goes up against Houston, he always does well. Always.
Yeah.
He kills them.
He'll always come out with this great game, and I feel like that's just he has the potential to be that consistently. He may not be one of the elite, greatest wide receivers in the game, but I think he's like Brandon Cooks level. It's like a solid, very good receiver.
Yeah, that's fine. 1,200 yards.
But either way, the Patriots could use either of those players.
Yeah.
He's better. You can't really argue with the fact they're better than anything the Patriots have right now.
What? You guys got N'Keal Harry. You guys got Jacoby Myers.
You're fine. You
guys got the MVP and Julian Edelman. You guys are fine at receiver.
Rub it in, why don't you?
Right. Oh, I will.
But we're going to move on to Allen Robinson. He finally gets the franchise tag, and he will be looking for a long-term deal. He's voiced that for a very long time. He's wanted to be paid like the best receiver in the game. So, Justin, how deserving is Allen Robinson to receive such a deal?
I think he's very deserving considering the amount of quarterback play he's had to deal with these past 2 seasons in Chicago. I didn't know if they were going to give it to him, but I'm happy they did. Now all they have to do is work on that quarterback situation. I'm not sure if Mitchell Trubisky is the guy for that job, even though they have done moderately well with subpar QB performances like Jim McMahon in the past. So that remains to be seen. They have the defense, even though it's becoming less and less reliable as the years go on. They just need a little bit more tweaking on the defense and a quarterback that can actually give the receivers the ball, and they're fine. They have a decent O-line and a solid running game in David Montgomery. So just fix the quarterback situation now and you should be fine.
I pretty much agree with you for once.
It feels good, doesn't it?
It's rare when it happens.
I mean, I'm always right. You just don't like it.
Or I'm always right, and you just get mad at me anytime.
I would never. I'd admit it.
All right, now, this guy, over the entirety of his career, he has dealt with quarterbacks such as Blake Bortles, Mitchell Trubisky, Mike Glennon, Nick Foles. So he hasn't had the best run at it with quarterbacks yet. This is a guy who still is able to put together statistics and has been on really poor teams. And he's he's put up with so much crap in the past few years. Yet he hasn't been paid. All right. He has the potential to put up possibly the best statistics of any wide receiver in the league if he's given the right wide receiver.
Mm.
If he ever had an Aaron Rodgers or a Deshaun Watson or a Russell Wilson, he'd be one of the best receivers in the game. He'd put up the one.
He might put.
Arguably.
I wouldn't put him over D-Hop though.
DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, I can't do that. No drop D-Hop.
One of them, I'm saying, but
he's up there. I give you that.
So this is a guy who may be one of the most deserving players to get a contract extension in the entire league.
It's just a franchise tag. They haven't extended him. He's only there.
They haven't, but
he's just there.
He wants that.
Hopefully he does.
He better.
But I think he wants to win in general, and I think he's seeing less and less of that in Chicago.
I think they're right on the edge of that right now. I think they have the roster to do it. The fact that they came to their senses and franchised Allen Robinson tells me that this team is just a quarterback away from being in contention.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's better. That's easier said than done, because we all know how hard it is to get your franchise quarterback in the draft. Mm-hmm. But once they get him, and if they can retain this roster, maybe improve that offensive line a little bit, this team on paper is as good as anybody. Now, it remains to be seen whether they will be as good as anybody. Mm-hmm. But on paper, it's a pretty talented roster. Darnell Mooney is their number 2 receiver.
Not a bad receiver.
That's not a bad receiver.
That's not a bad number 2.
And I think, honestly, he's another guy where if he had a better quarterback, he'd put up much better numbers. Yeah. We see some highlights where
he's just beating
Nick
guys.
Foles is just overthrowing guys left and right, and Darnell Mooney and Allen Robinson are sitting there like, what the hell, dude? Like, come on. Like, we'd be in contention if you could hit us every now and then. Like, all these struggles, and they still finished 8-8. I'm surprised they finished 5-1. And they started 5-1. Yeah. But you know what I'm trying, like, you get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they have the potential. That defense is awesome. Khalil Mack is an awesome defender. I like Kyle Fuller.
For some reason, I feel like he's slipping off, even though I shouldn't feel that way.
Even a slipping off Khalil Mack is
better than most.
It's better than most. And, like, in fact, that's better than most players in the league.
Yeah.
You know, he's one of the premier defensive players in the game. Mm-hmm. And they're barely making the playoffs at 8-8. They had a 5-1 record. So see, if they had better quarterback play, they probably would have held that record. They could have had a 12-4 record. A few years ago, what was it, 2018?
Yeah, they made the playoffs.
With Mitch Trubisky. He was as a game manager, basically. Don't fool yourself by the fact that he was drafted 10th overall?
No.
5th overall? Second overall.
I think.
Don't let that fool you. He was a game manager that entire season. They went 12-4 off defense, and they were still a lot of people had that team in the Super Bowl.
And he was a Pro Bowler. People forget Mitchell Trubisky was a Pro Bowler.
I can't believe that guy was a Pro Bowler.
It's like one of those pictures that doesn't make sense and you don't believe it, and then you look it up and like, happened.
It happened.
All three quarterbacks from the first round were Pro Bowlers.
If they can get a legitimate quarterback, then this is a team that could easily be in contention. And you know, I hope there's some truth in these rumors that they want to get Deshaun Watson or Russell Wilson, because I feel like Deshaun Watson or Russell Wilson in Chicago would be good for football. That would be good for the NFL. I think
it'd be good for Deshaun.
It'd be good for both Wilson or Deshaun. I just feel like Chicago's one of those towns. It's a football town. They're one of the flagship franchises around the historic franchises around the league. If they can get good, I just feel like the NFL would be so much better, especially with Aaron Rodgers in that division. Imagine that rivalry, Bears, Packers.
It's still a rivalry, but it's, Aaron owns that rivalry right now.
Well, of course, it's a rivalry. It doesn't mean it's a good one. It's a terrible rivalry.
It's like the Jets and the Patriots.
It's like Jets-Patriots. It's so one-sided. Even one of the worst Patriots teams I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. And they still went 2-0 against the Jets.
The Jets did beat y'all in the playoffs that 1 year.
That 1 year, but we're not going to talk about that. Mark Sanchez. You know what? Anytime anybody brings that up, butt fumble. Butt fumble.
that was against the Patriots.
But I say butt fumble, and you lose that argument automatically. Sorry. Butt fumble and 6 championships.
That guy still went on to beat y'all and go to the AFC Championship game.
You guys, you Jets fans, you guys haven't won a championship since
the 60s.
Super Bowl 1.
No, it can be Super Bowl. I think it was
Super
3.
Bowl 1. Super Bowl 1 or Super Bowl 3?
I think it's 3 because Kansas City was up against the Colts.
Right. Yeah. I think it was Super Bowl 3.
I think it was 1963 the last time they won a Super Bowl.
I don't.
Joe Namath made a deal. There's no other way. They can't be this bad for so long unless you're willing to tell me Joe Namath made that deal.
You know what? 6 rings.
6 rings.
You had Joe Namath. You won 1 Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. We had Tom Brady. We won 6. Mm-hmm. We also had Belichick, but still 6 Super Bowls. So butt fumble. We're getting off topic.
Yeah.
But
the point still stands.
Yeah, point still stands. Patriots are great.
Jets, not so much.
Less than great. Little less than great. Just a tad. Mark Sanchez. Sam Darnold. He's not a bad. He might be.
He might be something if he goes off some other team. He might be an All-Pro if he went to another team.
He's kind of a weird talent. He's one of those players. He's been in the league for how many? He's going on his 3rd year in the league. 2018, 2019.
He's going on his 4th. He's in the same draft class as Lamar.
Same draft. That's 2018.
18, 19, 20.
Yeah, 20. All right. Going into his 4th year, and we kind of don't really know what he's like yet. We just don't know. I wonder if that's a testament to the Jets or to the quarterback. But we just don't know. Like, he's shown flashes.
Way off topic.
We just don't know what he's like. But Jets. Jets. Jets.
I feel good for Allen Robinson. I feel even better for the Bears.
All right. So moving on. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they had 3 pending free agents, key pending free agents going into this offseason. And they were really super, like, big time free agents. And we didn't know if they were going to be able to keep all of them. But free agency hasn't even started, and they already gave the franchise tag to Chris Godwin. Mm-hmm. They already locked down to Levante David for 2 years, $25 million. And now all they have left heading into free agency is Shaq Barrett. There has been some reports that they want to talk about a long-term deal with him. So, I mean, just based on what they've done so far, are the Buccaneers headed into a good start going into the 2021 season?
I mean, they're pretty solid right now. I mean, look at the players they already got. Chris Godwin got franchise tag. Levante David, 2 years, $25 million. Nice going there. All they need is Shaq Barrett back. I'm never calling him Shaquille Barrett again. Shaq Barrett is staying. All they need is him back, and I think they can manage because they have Vita Vea in the middle now. I think they could let Ndamukong Suh walk, but I believe he's willing to stay. I think that defense will be solid again next year now that they have another year under the belt. Ooh, they can make it back to the Super Bowl now. They're looking pretty good now that they got 2 out of the 3. All thanks to Mike Evans willing to reconstruct his contract. Nice going there, Mike.
Yeah. Nice going, Mike. But, yeah, I think so. Book it. Book your tickets.
I wouldn't say book it.
To Super Bowl 56. So, let me tell you something. This offense, in year 2, offenses with quarterbacks like Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning, they run smoother in year 2. They always run smoother in year 2 under a new system. Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense, they They ran well. Obviously, Tom Brady threw for 40 touchdown passes and over 4,600 yards.
Mm-hmm.
But if you watch this team all season long, you could see that there was a little dysfunction there, and it wasn't running exactly like they wanted it to.
Mm-hmm.
They had a major hiccup sort of midway through the season. They lost 3 out of 4 games,
including that 38-3 loss to the Saints. The Saints just bullied them.
Yeah, but you could clearly see as the season went on, towards the end, they really hit their stride and they started to run a lot better.
Yeah.
Now, I think Antonio Brown, just get him the hell out of there.
Come on. He was a solid fit there.
He was an okay fit, but I thought the offense ran a lot better when it was just Mike Evans and Chris Godwin as the focal points of that offense.
I disagree. Look at what they did against Detroit. They abused Detroit. That was ridiculous what they did to Detroit.
Sure.
I didn't start Mike Evans that game, and it upset me.
In your fantasy league.
Yes.
See, Mike Evans, he's the guy.
There's no question about that. Mike Evans is the guy.
Yeah.
But with Brady, there is no such thing as the guy.
Well,
he barely had 1,000 yards.
When it comes to it, sometimes it just comes down to less is more. It feels like everybody's like, if you pile on all these wide receivers, let's get in Odell Beckham Jr. in here. Let's keep Antonio Brown. Let's keep Rob Gronkowski, Cameron Brate, OJ Howard's coming back.
Yeah.
There's only one ball, and you can't keep everybody happy. And I think when you try to satisfy everybody, when you have that in the back of your head, get the ball to this guy, get the ball to this guy, get the ball to this guy, it just complicates the whole offense. In some cases, it could mean less is more. They have Mike Evans, they have Chris Godwin, they have Cameron Brate, they have Rob Gronkowski coming back in another year, and they have Scotty Miller, who is I like him. I like him. Not in fantasy football. I'm not going to talk about that. I started him in fantasy one year. Came back and bit me in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
But the offense is going to run a lot smoother in year 2 as long as Godwin stays.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when the offense improves, takes a big step forward next year, they're going to be a lot less reliant on the defense. Think about it this way. It's like when you're a kid, you're learning how to use a bike, you use your training wheels. The training wheels represents the defense in this case. The defense, they needed the help of the defense.
Oh,
I'm not going to sit here and try to say Tom Brady carried the team to the defense helped a little bit. Tom Brady played a huge role, and he was probably the biggest reason why they won. But another huge reason was the defense. And I think in year 2, they may not need the defense so much, which is why I think all they needed was 2 out of the 3 players between Godwin, David, and Barrett in order to return to Super Bowl contention.
And they got
Godwin required because they need that offense to run smoothly. I would have preferred Barrett because the best part of that defense was their pass rush. And you choose between David and Barrett. They got David. So now they have 2 of the 3. So honestly, this team is already they're in a solid place to contend next season, and honestly, they deserve to be favorites heading into the 2021 season to represent the NFC in Super Bowl 56, and honestly, they should be favored to win it.
Yeah, I see it. They did just win the Super Bowl. They did just beat Kansas City, no problem. I do think Kansas City will hopefully make adjustments and go from there. I think the Packers will get better. Hopefully San Francisco gets healthy and is able to return to form. The Saints, I don't see them coming back. So I think it's just San Francisco and Green Bay in the NFC, Kansas City, Buffalo, Baltimore in the AFC. And yeah, I think they have a pretty good chance to repeat.
Right. They lost they lost both of their games in the division to the New Orleans Saints. The New Orleans Saints are bound to get a little worse, so it's going to be just the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in that division. They finished 11-5 last year. Add those 2 wins, they're 13-3. They might even win a couple more besides that.
I give them 13. I think they're 13-3. I think they're 13-3.
13-3. That's a solid around that area. At the very worst, 12-4, but not 11-5. Mark my words. Going to make a bold prediction here. as long as Tom Brady is healthy and is still himself, hasn't aged yet, hasn't fallen off Max Kellerman's cliff, as long as that happens, just by showing up, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will go at least 12-4 and probably go at least to the NFC Championship.
Okay, that's a solid prediction. I wouldn't say you're doing a hot one out there.
It's not that hot, actually.
Yeah.
It's pretty. They deserve to be favored. They'll probably go back to the NFC Championship, and they will represent. And they're facing the AFC East, which has gotten better. The AFC East.
Yeah.
It's not. They're no pushover like they were back when the Patriots were ruling.
I mean, the only pushovers I see is the Jets, but it's always the Jets.
They're always a pushover. That's not going to change, even if the AFC East is competitive.
I mean, yeah, but you have the Dolphins, you have the Patriots, and you have the Buffalo Bills.
They're all fairly competitive. I'm telling you, Belichick is not going to let that game. He's not going to let that team be a pushover.
Yeah, he's always prepared for Week 1 usually. He's
going to do what he can in order to win, in order to be at least hold his own against Tom Brady. He won't let that happen. And you better believe Brady's going to be ready.
Yeah, that's a pretty good division. It's not as good as the AFC North, but it's still a good division.
It's a highly competitive. It's gonna. I can't wait. I'm getting tickets to that game, by the way, and you're coming. Patriots Buccaneers. That's gonna be amazing game. I'm telling you. Neither team is gonna blow out the other. I firmly believe that.
All right. Can't wait.
Can't wait. All right. Now that'll do it for us tonight. Thank you for listening to us. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check out our Spotify and Google Play. Also, be sure to follow our Instagram at Fumblerooski_podcast to keep up with our podcast and the latest coverage of the NFL. Otherwise, we will see you next week. Over and out.